Dark comedy is a type of humor that makes fun of taboo subjects in uncomfortable ways. A lot of scenes in dark comedies can be taken comically or seriously, as a situation can be funny but the context around it is dark. Depending on the person, a scene can be either of those or both, which is what makes dark comedy so engaging to dissect. In the movie Bernie, the protagonist of the same name is a man that is loved by the entire community of his in Carthage, Texas. Bernie is a brilliant funeral director that cares for everyone in the community, especially the elderly widows, one of them being a newly widowed woman named Marjorie who's despised by the town.
There are people in town, honey, that would have shot her for $5.
Bernie goes out of his way to care for her and they form a close relationship over time. However, their relationship goes from wholesome to toxic as Marjorie becomes unhinged and starts controlling Bernie, eventually getting him to quit his job and work for her full time. The dark comedy in the film is used to explore aspects of toxic relationships. The comedy is used to lighten the mood while still evoking a sympathetic response.
You know this drives me crazy. Please stop. This is like nails on a chalkboard to me. Okay, go ahead. Chew like that. Chew like that all day.
The affection Bernie receives from the town is questioned by a detective, Danny Buck, who thinks Bernie is only out to get her money. This leaves the audience to question the legitimacy of Bernie's relationship with Marjorie. Throughout the film, there are interviews which give viewers a glimpse into what it's like to live in a small town where people's reputations are based on stories and hearsay.
He just couldn't tell anybody to piss off.
After one too many outbursts from Marjorie, Bernie kills her. In a Hollywood movie, this scene would be the climax, but this is only halfway through the film. The police find Marjorie's body after her banker has a series of suspicious interactions with Bernie and notices oddities with her account. It turns out those oddities were from Bernie giving people and the town money from her account to start businesses and give people gifts. Even after Bernie's confession to the murder, everyone in the town still stood up for him because of how great of a reputation he has.
There's not enough nice men in this town. Leave poor Bernie alone, Danny Buck.
And we don't even think he did it. He confessed.
If the second half of the movie were explained in pure facts, Danny Buck should be the protagonist looking for the murderer, but because Bernie is so well liked, those roles are reversed. Most of the jokes are funny without context, but once viewers have the context of a toxic relationship or murder around them, they become dark jokes. The Lobster is a very similar film in this regard, as the concept is just as dark. Single people go to an institution in hopes of finding a match within 45 days. If someone doesn't find a match, they get turned into an animal of their choice. There's a hunt every day where people in the institution hunt escapees, gaining one extra day for every person they kill. The film structures its themes around death and love and what that represents. Single people are portrayed as lonely and isolated, which is why David, the protagonist, wants to find a match. The institution places a large emphasis on matching people with shared traits, which leads people to fake similarities to avoid being turned into an animal.
This happens to me all the time. It's really annoying.
I know. I have a nosebleed problem too.
The deliberately stale dialogue seems to be only for the purpose of gaining information to check for suitability, as almost no one in the film seems genuinely in love. Initially, David fakes being a sociopath to get with a sociopathic girl in a few darkly hilarious scenes.
What happened?
She jumped from the window of room 180. There's blood and biscuits everywhere.
I hope she dies right away. On second thoughts, I hope she suffers quite a bit before she dies. I just hope her pathetic screams can't be heard from my room, because I was thinking about having a lie down.
His facade is torn away after she kills his dog, who also happens to be his brother, and finds him crying about it. This commentates on how people are always faking aspects of themselves to be more liked and takes it to an extreme. David decides to escape to the forest after this with the other escapees, who have a rule of no flirting or falling in love. This is the polar opposite of the rules in the institution, but equally bad. David and a girl in the group genuinely fall in love but can't show it publicly for fear of punishment, so they develop ways to hide their relationship. Without context, these scenes would just be comical, but with context, they're darkly comedic since there's the constant suspense of whether or not they'll be caught. The escapee group likes wreaking havoc on the institution and the rest of society's structure with efforts that force people in relationships to pull off the veil society is placing them behind to reveal their true selves. David and his lover eventually get caught after they get carried away while visiting the leader of the group's parents, where they were supposed to be posing as a couple. The girl is then blinded as a punishment, and David decides they should run away together to escape to the city. The movie ends on a cliffhanger that lets viewers search through their own mind about the decision they would make if they were in David's position of whether or not to conform to society's standards in order to have a genuine connection. The Art of Self-Defense is another movie that allows viewers to reflect on their own perspective of relationships. The protagonist Casey is a submissive and sheepish character with awkward social skills.
I think Maggie gave birth recently. Grant's wife, Maggie. Actually, I know she did. I went to the cookout at his house last weekend, and they were there with their new baby along with their 2 other children. It was actually a really nice cookout.
This is an example of a very offbeat character in an indie film compared to the confident, charismatic heroes often found in mainstream Hollywood movies. After getting beat up for seemingly no reason by a group of attackers on motorcycles, he decides to find a way to defend himself. He gets intertwined with a karate studio who has underlying motives and some questionable ethical decisions.
Students, what is rule number 8?
Tap or take a nap.
Casey quickly gets sucked into the karate dojo's classes and way of doing things because of their cult-like structure from its charismatic leader. Much like Bernie, the Art of Self-Defense is structured around toxic relationships. Initially, the sensei seems to genuinely care for Casey, which parallels how toxic relationships form in real life. The dojo and the people there give him confidence and purpose in his otherwise dull life. Casey's personality abruptly changes to be masculine and become the type of person he once feared.
Hey, shut up, stop talking.
What did you say?
You talk too much. I don't talk, I act. I punched him in the goddamn throat. It felt amazing.
Who?
Our boss, Grant.
He starts taking the night class, which is when the film starts revealing all of the dojo's dark secrets, much like uncovering a person's true nature. Casey has only obtained the second lowest belt, but still radically structures his life around karate because of how invested he is. His sole purpose becomes obtaining approval from the dojo's sensei. Once Casey is in too deep, he realizes the sensei is just out to get him after blackmailing him.
No, don't touch him. Don't touch him, he's still breathing.
What are you doing?
The sensei makes his night class students hurt innocent people or else they will be killed by the sensei. The motives of the sensei become more twisted over time as he seems hellbent on controlling his students' lives. Casey ends up killing the sensei with a gun, breaking the rules of the dojo, symbolizing he has shed his ideology to break off the controlling relationship. While dark comedy can be used for shock value, it can also be more thoughtfully implemented to showcase and exaggerate taboo areas of society that people otherwise wouldn't talk about. It challenges conventions of what is acceptable and allows traumatic situations to be tackled in a comedic manner without minimizing the impacts of those situations and experiences. Dark comedy allows these morbid aspects of society to be joked about, allowing people to find comfort in the uncomfortable.